Good morning, I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for streaming with us. In today's update, the United States hit yet another grim milestone overnight. More than 4,000 Americans lost their lives to COVID-19 in just 24 hours. This is that new highly contagious variant of the virus has now been detected in at least 8 states. But a new study awaiting peer review is offering some hope. Researchers from Pfizer and the University of Texas found that Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine is likely to protect against that new variant and another detected in South Africa. Meanwhile, the UK approved the Moderna vaccine today, the third authorized for use there. The country will use the convention centers and stadiums as mass vaccination sites starting next week. And here in the U.S., the pandemic continues to hit the economy. 140,000 jobs were lost in December. The unemployment rate remains unchanged at 6.7%. And 2 days after a pro-Trump mob stormed the Capitol building, we're now learning a Capitol Hill police officer has died from injuries sustained in the riot. Officer Brian Sicknick is the 5th person to die in the rampage. In D.C. last night, police cars lined up, flashing their lights in his honor. And this morning, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi ordered flags at the Capitol to be flown at half-staff. Now we're hearing from the White House. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the latest from Washington. Andrew, good morning. I want to get to that statement from the White House, but first I wanted to quickly ask you about this new tweet from the president about his plans on Inauguration Day.
Yeah, Trump is set to hand over control of the White House to Joe Biden in just 12 days here, but the president will not be there to see this all the way through. He's confirmed many people's suspicions over these last few months that he will not be attending inauguration. Trump tweeting just a couple of minutes ago, to all of those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. Now, the only other incumbent presidents to not attend inauguration for the next president would be John Adams in 1801, John Quincy Adams in 1829, and Andrew Johnson in 1869. So there you have it. Now add President Trump to that list. He says he's not going to the inauguration on January 20th.
All right. And the White House also just responded to news of the death of Officer Brian Sicknick. They issued a written statement from the deputy press secretary. Do you think we'll hear from the actual press secretary or the president himself on this today?
So this is the first we're hearing from the White House at all in any capacity about Officer Sicknick's death. He was obviously killed in those riots on Wednesday. According to authorities, he suffered injuries, went to the hospital, and later died. It's hard to say if we will hear from Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany or President Trump himself, but I want to get to that statement from the deputy press secretary on Officer Sicknick's death. He said, in part, anytime a member of law enforcement dies in the line of duty, it is a solemn reminder to all of us that they run toward danger to maintain peace. Now, as for if we will hear from President Trump, look, it took 24 hours for him to respond to the riots overall. And when he did, that was in a pre-recorded, pre-produced video on Twitter. So it's potentially we could hear from Trump in the same capacity, as that's the only way we've heard from him as of late is on Twitter, but it's hard to say. And other than that brief statement from the deputy press secretary, and when Trump issued his video and his statement on the riots overall, as well as Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, they did not take any questions. It's also unclear if the president will order flags to be flown half-staff in wake of the officer's death.
And Andrew, what's the latest on the investigation into the security breach at the Capitol and holding the rioters accountable?
So top prosecutors here in D.C. say all options are on the table. They are looking to charge those involved with those riots. Some of those charges could include sedition charges, as well as unauthorized access, theft of property, weapons possession, and rioting. But investigators are still combing through evidence to potentially bring additional charges. The FBI and other law enforcement agencies are also asking the public to step forward if they recognize anybody who took part in some of these illegal riots and demonstrations, if they would come forward with some of that, with some information there as well, to possibly bring additional charges to more people. But right now, prosecutors say they're not ruling anything out, and all options are on the table.
And in a Twitter video last night, the president finally admitted that he won't have a second term. He ensured a peaceful transition of power. There are now growing calls, though, for him to be removed from office, even though he only has a few days left in his term. Where do things stand with that?
Right. So there are two options that we keep hearing that are being flown around. Of course, obviously impeachment, which would be through lawmakers, or potentially invoking the 25th Amendment, which would involve President Trump's own cabinet trying to determine that he is unfit for office. But again, he's only got 12 days left here in office anyway. So experts say that these measures, if they are carried out by his cabinet or lawmakers, they're unlikely to be seen through all the way to the finish because there's simply just not enough time. But this is not a call just from political rivals of President Trump. It's not just Democrats that are saying that they may be on board for impeachment. Republicans as well. Just today, Nebraska Republican Senator Ben Sasse says that he has expressed interest in considering impeachment. But again, Trump hands over those keys to Joe Biden in just 12 days. We'll have to wait and see if any of those actually happen. By the way, if he does get impeached for a second time in the House, a conviction in the Senate is unlikely. But if that were to happen, that would potentially mean President Trump could never run for office again.
All right, Andrew Dymburt in Washington for us. Thanks, Andrew. And the woman caught on video falsely accusing a black teen of stealing her phone at a New York hotel and then attempting to tackle him is now in custody. Deputies say they apprehended her overnight in California, and police say Maya Ponsetto refused to pull over and resisted deputies. Adrian Bankert has more on her case and the new reaction from the teen's parents.
This is my phone.
Show me. No.
You don't have to explain nothing to her.
This morning, Maya Ponsetto, who New York police say is the woman seen in this viral video confrontation, is waking up in a California jail cell. Arrested on a fugitive warrant and held without bond in connection with this alleged assault on 14-year-old Keon Harold Jr. in a New York City hotel.
I haven't been able to sleep since December 26th. So I feel that tonight I will be able to at least get something. But it is a start.
According to police, when Ventura County deputies attempted to pull Ponsetto over Thursday night, she refused to stop, later pulling over at her home, where Ventura County officials say she resisted deputies and had to be physically restrained. A day earlier, NYPD detectives flew to California to help locate the 22-year-old, who they'd been seeking since last month when they say she falsely accused Harold of stealing her phone, before surveillance video shows her chasing and wrestling with the teen and his father. The family's attorney claims it is a case of bias.
We want her to be held accountable, so it would set a precedence that when people falsely accuse and racially profile our children, that they're held accountable.
Harold's family says Ponsetto's arrest is a good first step, but now they're asking for justice.
I pray for her, I really do. But in the context of all of the excuses that her attorney made, at this point, it's not even about an apology anymore. It's about change.
Ponsetto's cell phone was later found by an Uber driver and returned to her. The family tells us that Keon Harold Jr. has been in music therapy since the incident. Diane?
All right, Adrian Bankert for us. Thank you. And a programming note tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, a special encore presentation of Homegrown Hate, The War Among Us will be presented. An investigation more than a year in the making, exploring hate and white supremacy in America. That's tonight at 8 o'clock on ABC News Live. And that does it for this ABC News Live update. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for joining us. And remember, ABC News Live is here for you all day with the latest news, context, and analysis. I'll see you back here at 3 p.m. Eastern with Terry Moran for The Breakdown.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.